The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, America's competition shotgun, and is fueled by Fiocchi.
Welcome to the Dead Pair Podcast, coming in hot with everything you want to hear about sporting clays. With your hosts, Jason Rambo.
This is what I have to work with, everyone.
And Sean Alley.
Like I said, I was just thirsty.
Oh, boy.
Often imitated, but never duplicated. It's the Dead Pair Podcast. It's showtime.
Welcome back, everyone. What's up there, Mr. Alley?
Well, doing good, Jason. How about yourself? How's things down in Florida?
Oh, doing real good. I'm kind of excited. We have a guest with us right off the start here again. Mr. Rick Webb, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing great, Rick. Good to hear from you. Been a while.
Yeah, it has. Too long.
You know, Rick, when I approached you about this, I thought for sure you were going to tell me, nah, I don't think so. But I think as I explained why I wanted you on here, you kind of understood and you were excited to be on here.
Yeah, I was. When you told me, what you were thinking, and I thought, man, that would be, I think that'd make a great podcast because I see and do a lot of things different than just being in the shooting aspect and the competition side of it. I'm kind of in all of the aspect of it.
Right. Well, so for those that don't know who Mr. Rick Webb is, this is the guy that transports his wonderful son, Hunter Webb, who's a junior champion, and of course, Brandon Powell. So you have a national and world champion and an up-and-coming champion, and this man is there. He sees him in and out of the course, day-to-day life at the course. So I kind of wanted to get his take and his perspective on things, and I'm excited to dive into this. Rick, we're not too far removed. You guys were just over at the Worlds, both the World Sporting at EJ Churchill and the World FITASC over at Cyprus. Just summarize, how did that go for everybody?
Well, it went phenomenal. Brandon won a back-to-back world at EJ, which is only a few Americans have done. I think maybe him and Anthony. I'm not for sure if somebody else has done that from America, but to go over there and see the sights and just be out of your comfort zone, which I was really out of my comfort zone, but and that's a story in itself. But it was so cool, and to watch Hunter, we training for that was an interesting training as well. But to see Hunter compete over there and see where sporting clays came from and that was just amazing. And then flying another 5.5, 6 hours over to Cyprus and landing in the desert, I felt like I had landed in, I was in a different country. I felt in a different world. And I'm driving a little car on the wrong side of the road, and we're all jammed in this thing, and it doesn't seem right. And it seems weird. And then the place is on fire by us. But it was like 110, 112, 15 degrees during the shoot. And man, Hunter shot great. Brandon shot amazing. And to see your son on the podium with a medal and knowing that we come from a place that my parents were really poor, to come from that was amazing. It was pretty sobering.
Yeah. And plus, you guys are representing our country. This is a world championship and to carry the flag, if you will, you know what I mean? That had to be, yeah. And then plus your son being up there on stage with the medal. It had to be extremely humbling and very proud moment for you at the same time. It
was. And I kind of felt, I know it's not the Olympics, but man, it had the Olympic feel. It had that feeling, the way they do it. It was just like any international shoot, like an Olympic people up there in the line and then going to the stand and playing, raising all the flags for gold medal and gold, silver, and bronze, and playing the anthems. And it raises the hair on your neck, as a parent, watching your kid do that,
Yeah. So. Well, to back up just a little bit, before you guys left, the weeks leading up to it, I think Brandon went to Canada. Am I saying that correct? And
yes, he did.
And then you guys brought in Chad Roberts to kind of work with like Brandon's training and Chad's way of training to help Hunter. How did that go? Because that's probably the first time Hunter's ever had anybody working with him other than Brandon, wasn't it?
Well, back in the day, Gavin and Karen worked with Hunter a few times. Todd Hitch worked with Hunter then, when he was like 13. He would come to the farm and work an hour or two with Hunter, here or there. So Hunter'd been around some other coaches, Bill McGuire, but Bobby Brooks was Hunter's coach. And then once he's been with Brandon, he's pretty much, everything Brandon wants him to do, he does, So when Brandon was supposed to come and we were going to do this pretty intense training for EJ. And Brandon got the opportunity to go to Canada and shoot the Canadian Open. And I was kind of feeling a little weird there for a minute. And I just said, okay, here's your choices. I said, Hunter needs training. You're going to shoot. I said, I'm either sending Hunter to Idaho to shoot targets at Little Trapper that's supposed to be set up similar to what we're going to be shooting, or I'm going to call Chad and see if Chad will come and work with Hunter and Brandon. I said, you're his coach. I want you to make the decision how you want me to get him ready for EJ. And he said, I want you to call Chad.
That's pretty cool.
He said, Chad's working my style. Chad understands what I'm doing. He's been shooting longer. He knows how to communicate what I'm doing. And he would be me. And I know that Brandon and Chad had some conversations during that time about what they were working on with Hunter. And man, it was fantastic. Chad did a great job explaining what Brandon's trying to teach. He also helped Hunter understand what he would be facing over there by making calls and asking Brandon and his he knows Ben Huswaite. He knows, he understands that stuff. He really did a fantastic job getting Hunter ready for that. And man, if you guys don't know Chad, you guys are missing something, because that guy is awesome.
Yeah.
He's rad, as they say.
Yeah,
he's rad.
I think Chad's one of the most underrated coaches in the whole scene. I mean, I really do. I think he's way better than even he thinks he is.
Yeah.
I think that Chad has an unbelievable way of communicating, and he understands the game. He understands the methods. He understands the madness. He understands the emotions. He understands winning and losing. He's been in the professional sports in other aspects, not just in shooting. And man, it was good. It was great. He was here. He had a great time. Him and Hunter had a great time shooting. They shot a lot. I think Hunter shot close to 5,000 rounds that week, and it was good. And like I said, Brandon was involved the whole way through. Him and Chad talked about what they wanted to do, and it was a team effort for everybody. And to be honest, man, that's what this sport needs. It needs more team effort.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Rick, I do want to jump to something. You were telling me, I think you said it was between EJ Churchill and Cypress. You kind of had like a self-reality check. I mean, you don't have to dive deep, but is there something there you could share with everybody on that? So
I started having anxiety attacks in England and panic attacks. And my wife was like, what's going on with you? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like everything was bothering me, like being away from home and being away from stuff here and my job, my workers. And I was having these anxiety attacks, and I didn't feel, there was nothing that made me feel like home. Like everywhere I looked, it was different. And it was different. And I was struggling, and we got on that plane to Cyprus, and I was okay. But once the pilot said, we're 5.5 hours and I heard 5.5 hours. Now, listen, I've been on a plane for a long time to get to England.
Now you're going farther.
I'm getting farther away from home. And I'll be honest with you, I was trying to figure out how I could get a ticket home. And then I was so confused because I had the gun. The gun was in my name. Hunter's not 18. And I'm in panic mode on this plane. Nobody knew it. My wife did. Even Hunter didn't know. And we get off the plane and we're in desert. It looks to me like Afghanistan in my mind. Desert looking, big military looking trucks, fuel trucks. And I seen some armed guards with AKs and I'm like, man. And I thought back, something jumped me back to, I was supposed to go in the Army and I got hurt. And my best friend went in and he served until he just retired last year. And he done like 10 tours of duty. And I thought, I've been right there in this mess with him over here. This is so weird, but I'm walking down the tarmac. And for some reason, my dad, who passed away the year Hunter was born, popped in my head. And I got to thinking about when I was a kid, we were so poor that going to get a pizza was a major deal, like big deal to go get a pizza. Swing in pizza. That was just a big deal for us. And I looked at my wife and I said, when I was a kid, we were poor and getting a pizza was a big deal. I'm halfway around the world with my son, watching him compete on one of the biggest stages ever. I need to enjoy this. The good Lord's given me an opportunity to do something most people never would get to do. And I need to enjoy this. And you know what? I was good from there on out. Even that place was even weirder than English or England, but I was good, because I something touched me, something hit me and said, hey, enjoy this minute.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's something not a lot of people get to experience, number one. And, thank goodness you were there. I mean, I know you probably had a little bit of anxiety and still do over the whole situation. But I mean, that is definitely going to be a lifetime memory for you, I'm sure, and honor.
100%. I look at his bronze medal hanging up and here in the living room, and I just think, man, what a cool opportunity that kid had, and what a cool opportunity for us as parents to watch him do it.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to swing back. I know that with you being a father, I was just curious. How was the rest of the youth represented, like across the other countries that came there to compete? Did you see a lot of other youth shooters there from other countries?
Yeah. Yes, we did. We've seen a lot of, there's not a lot of young kids like we see here in the United States. We see a lot of 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds. There was a few 14, 15-year-old kids, but that was about as young as you'd see. Most of them were, 15 or older. There was a lot of kids represented in a lot of different countries. Australia, we shot with a kid from Australia. Hunter did. He was a really good kid. As a matter of fact, I saved his scorecard because his ammo was not firing, and I was carrying enough ammo for Hunter to shoot 2 different kinds, and I saved this kid's scorecard. It was awesome. We had a great time, but definitely well represented all over the world, and at Cyprus, United States took first, second in the junior division. We took first, second, third, fourth, fifth.
Wow.
And seventh on one, I think Australian kid snuck in there, unlike in the open division where it was Brandon and the French. The French dominate over there, in that world a lot of times. They shoot PTASC all the time. And it was awesome to see those juniors, Connor Daniel and Jonathan Prince and then Hunter and then you had Lane Piccolo and Jacob Judson, and it just is awesome. See our kids right up there, and pushing, leading the charge.
Well, that is awesome. You also said because he's a youth, you had to kind of take responsibility for the gun when you were traveling. Can you talk a little bit about like your experience or what you witnessed over there? I mean, we say it all the time. So many of us here in the United States kind of take for granted how easy it is to, do this sport or get a gun, in our country. But other countries, it's got to be a mess of bureaucratic loopholes and red tape to get anything done. I mean, were you able to kind of witness anything over there that kind of made you appreciate how good we have things here with firearms versus other places in the world?
We live in the greatest country in the world. And especially if you like to do shooting sports, because man, was that a headache. And, waiting to the last, I couldn't even book a ticket to fly over there because we didn't have a permit until 3 or 4 days prior to going. And then when they don't tell you all the stuff. And then when you deal with the airline that they have their own sets of rules and it was just a nightmare. Me and Brandon they screwed us up so bad. We ended up on a flight without our family. We had to fly my wife, Tiffany, and Hunter flew from Indy to Boston to Heathrow. Me and Brandon got the luxury of losing our upgraded seats to the back of the plane and flying from Indy to Dallas, which seemed really out of the way.
Wow.
And then all the way to Heathrow. And it was very disappointing. And that all was because of the firearm. And the airline didn't know what to do and how to handle it and how to transfer it. And the crazy part was their partners, American Airlines and British Airways, and American didn't know what to do and how to get the transfer done. And while my wife and Tiffany and Hunter were in Boston getting ready to board the plane, they're screaming for Brandon Powell and Richard Webb, wanting to know where we're at and why the firearms aren't there. And we're in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
That's crazy.
What craziness.
And Cyprus was a little easier than Heathrow. Still, you have special permits and they check some stuff, but we got it so made here. We have no clue how easy it is to go to the airport, open your gun, throw a tag in there, and go to the next state. I mean, it is a nightmare. It truly is. And do not take ammo. Don't even waste your time. It's just more problems. You're just adding to the fire that you've already started.
Right. Well, first of all, congratulations. Like you say, Brandon won another World Sporting Championship and Hunter placed really well. So congratulations to both of them for that. And now you guys are back home. This is where I want to dive into it. So tell me tell us if you can, please, what day-to-day life is like for Brandon and Hunter outside of shooting, right? I mean, because we get to see them on the stage, right? We get to see them perform at a shoot or a tournament. What's life like outside of shooting for those guys?
So Hunter tries to be somewhat of a normal teenager. He tries to, do stuff that he wants to do around here, take his truck for a drive and go to Dairy Queen or go to Culver's or whatever. And Brandon, when Brandon's here, Brandon's got a lot of, he's one thing that when I got with Brandon, I wanted him to be more businesslike. He'd always been shooter. He'd always been brutally honest with his actions and words. And that does not work in corporate America very well. You got to learn to be more correct in the way you handle things and speak. And so he does a lot of fielding calls and phone and text messages, and we talk a lot about different things, and he's got some videos getting ready to be produced, and we talk about what he should do with investing and just a lot of stuff like that. So he's like the older brother that needs a little guidance, but he's out on his own and he's doing his own thing. And then Hunter's still here, he's still a minor, and we have to kind of, hey, take out the trash, hey, clean your room,
yeah.
But, when we get here, man, we try to disconnect and talk about hunting, and we got some real nice hunting property and we go deal with our tree stands, and that's what we were doing yesterday. We actually went and got some new tree stands and got some bows worked on, and we just try to do other things besides shooting, because we're shooting all the time. It's
right.
it's just constant barrage of shooting, and so try to be normal, outside of shooting.
Well, and that's kind of the basis of my question, because you guys, I don't think there's a tournament I can go to in the country where you guys aren't there. And I know that wraps up so much of your life. And, it's no different than any other sport. You take somebody like Brandon or somebody like Hunter that's so vested in it. when they get to talk to somebody, whether they're at a tournament or not, that's all somebody wants to talk about is shooting. You know what I mean? So I was kind of wanting to get a picture. What's day-to-day life like, right? Let's see who the person is behind the shooter.
Yeah, it's pretty normal, man. Brandon jumps on the four-wheeler and goes and checks cameras, and Hunter does the same thing. And we play with getting our fishing rods ready, which we run out of time before we ever get to go fishing. But we try to just be a little more normal. And when I get home, it's work. I'm trying to mow grass or do stuff around the house or catch up on work from my crews out working, and trying to make sure that they're taken care of. And then then Hunter's cleaning buggies and getting stuff ready for the next week, and I'm working on trucks and trailers and brakes and axles and tires and making sure we're ready to go, and I'm kind of used to it because I owned race cars forever.
Yeah.
And Monday through Thursday was work on the race car, and then Friday go tear it up, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday fix it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. I was highly invested in race cars, and this is very similar.
Yeah. Well, Rick, along that note too, I look at a lot of people, and of course, Jason, I know a lot of people that follow the circuit, and they're there at all the major shoots, all the regionals, all the big blasts, of course, at the Nationals and US Open. It boggles my mind sometimes the amount of time, resources, energy, everything that has to go into that to be able to just do it. You know what I mean? Like you just said, most people have jobs. And most people have home responsibilities. So to be on the road as much as you guys are, that's got to present a lot of struggles, right? Not only on the road dealing with all the stuff that happens at the shoots, but also at home. Can you give us a little bit of an explanation about that?
Yeah, we had a sick dog while we were in England. We ended up losing our dog this week. She just quit eating, and we're pretty sure she had some gastric problem, along with maybe she had a spot on her liver. It looked possibly cancer, but the family were trying to do everything they could do because they didn't want to call us and interrupt and cut our vacation weird or cause us to think about things here. And it's a lot. And luckily Kim works from home. My wife, she's here, and she tends to stay behind and let us take off, and then she might jump on a plane and show up at a regional or whatever and watch the main. We got a brand new grandbaby. It's only 3 months old. My daughter she's got a new job. We're trying to help them. So there's a lot of moving parts that go on. I feel like I'm doing something my dad would have loved to have been able to do with me, but he never could. And I would have loved to have done this with my dad. And I just feel like it's an opportunity, and I need to seize that moment.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is leading up to that, is like, do you feel the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak? Is it worth putting it into? It kind of sounds like it is, but I'm sure there's got to be moments in your life where you're like, man, this is just getting to be too much, or maybe it's just too much at a certain moment, or it's got to hit you at certain times. It just has to.
It is. To be honest, I'm home and they're in Idaho, and it was time for me to stop for a minute and be home for a minute and sit in my chair, watch my TV, and sleep in my bed. And I needed that for a minute. And I miss him. Hunter's called me 6 or 7 times already. Brandon's already called me 4 or 5 times. They FaceTime me 2 or 3 times. Man, we are family on the road. Brandon's like another son. He's, I'm 54, Brandon's 36, 37. He's he's a family member, and Hunter's like his little brother. And we just, on the road, family get mad at each other, get tired of each other. We do that too. But for the most part, man, we have some really great conversations and thoughts, and we laugh and we cut up, and it's going to be sad when he goes to college and it's over, to be honest. But,
Sure.
What a ride.
Well, what's let's moving into being at the tournament, what's the mindset change between day-to-day life for Brandon and Hunter and then being in a tournament? Like you've got to see a personality shift. To give you a dumb example, like when I raced, the different kinds of racing that I did, I was a mess on race day. Like you can ask Sean, he was around for some of that, and he's like, dude, I'll just talk to you when you're done racing because you're a basket case right now. But different people respond differently. So what's the mindset shift both for Brandon and Hunter going from day-to-day life to now they're getting ready to step in the box? I know it's serious, but
that's a great question, because they're two polar opposites.
Really?
Okay.
And which is really weird, because when Hunter gets on the ice playing hockey, he's a lot like Brandon. And when he's shooting, he's more calculated and very methodical and very precise. Where Brandon is grip it and rip it. And I think Brandon used to be more like Hunter and more methodical and in a shooting form. But when he came back, he realized he had nothing to lose. So he started shooting more free, per se.
okay.
And it's working. It's working. And now he's realized, I just need to go,
Yeah.
I need to go. And he says, and me and him have a lot of the same sayings. I think we learned it from our grandfathers, because the old guys had these little sayings and they would always use them, and you guys have heard all kinds of, quirky sayings. And like Brandon will say, hey, you either win or you lose. You either win or lose. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no in-betweens. It's kind of like you're either first or last, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Like the old Ricky Bobby.
Which is kind of silly. There's a lot there, but he's right. If you're there to win it, you're either winning or you're going to lose. And losing could be a lot of layers, but it's not that where you want it to be, right? So you're working to be where you want to be. And what do you do to get there? So the differences. So Brandon's pretty simple. Brandon, as when it gets time to go, he has a kill switch, and that kill switch goes to, I'm friends with everybody here, but you're my enemy for the next 100 targets. And I'm here to beat everybody, and I'm here to beat everybody and prove a point. And that's his mentality. Okay, so that was the same mentality I carried in all the sports that I played: wrestling, competitive softball, racing dirt bikes, owning race cars. It was always, when it was time, there's a butterfly in your stomach that says it's go time.
Yeah.
Hunter has this very reserved, doesn't want to hurt anybody, doesn't want to offend anybody, wants to please me, wants to not make me or Brandon look bad. He has this totally different thought process.
Yeah.
But as we've went through this thing, Hunter is now starting to understand that he has to have some of that killer drive. He has to, if you're going to be at the top, you got to kind of go. And he's starting to understand that. So it's starting to change a little bit. You never see nerves on Brandon, even when he's nervous. I know when he's nervous. I can see it in his body language. Nobody else can see it. I can tell you immediately when he's nervous. Hunter, he's like an open book with bold lettering. That's just the difference in the two. And the real hard work this year for Hunter was working on the mental game, because, hey, let's be honest, Hunter moves a shotgun as good as anybody out there. But his mental game is he's still concerned about, what other people think, and what he doesn't want to upset anybody. So,
yeah,
that's the differences in the two. It's pretty fun to watch, to be honest.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic, to sit back and watch, because I've watched both of them shoot, and, Hunter just comes across as just like this, humble, bashful kid. But then I've seen him outside of shooting, like not at the course, and he's goofy, fun, typical teenager, and it's like, so I can see a shift there. But here's an interesting question for you. What are, again, separate, Brandon and Hunter, what is their coping mechanisms during a tournament? And what I mean by that is, like, I've looked over at the buggy and Brandon looks like he's just like full on lip connected to his vape, and it looks like the inside of that thing's on fire. Is he nervous, or is he stressed, or is he mad? I mean, like, what are their coping mechanisms for dealing with different things that come up in a tournament?
Let's start with Brandon. So Brandon, he has a lot of different emotions and a lot of different ways of coping with those emotions. Somehow during his training, he got taught that I always use the mash the finger analogy. If you want to work harder at something, or you want to attack something, mash your fingers. They'll get with it, Yeah. It's like he needs to be upset about something to really go. So, like, if you ever watch Brandon get beat in a make or break when he shouldn't get beat, but then he's got to step back up there and shoot against somebody else, what you do then is you actually feel really sorry for the next person.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get the wrath of God. And that's I don't know how that came about, but it did. And so he has a lot of layers, and I've taken 1.5 years to learn those emotions with him. And when I see him start spiraling in a position where I think that it could be costing him, you'll notice that I switch buggies and I'll get in with Brandon. And then I start talking to him in a fashion that helps him. Like we have like this type of conversation. I'll be like, hey, listen, I don't know what happened back there, but you just need to turn Brandon Powell loose right now. Let's go. And let's end this. I want my picture taken. So let's go. And he responds, and he just goes to work. And there's a lot of times I see him dealing with it just fine. The vape,
Yeah.
If I see him crack a smile or wink at me, the world is all good, right? But if I see him like looking at me like, I don't know, and then I usually butt in. And with Hunter, I used to try to help him, and now I'm trying not to help him. Like, I try not to talk to him about the targets. I try to let him ask me, and I try to let him think about it. But I do tell him, hey, that station's over, because Hunter's a very analytical person.
Yeah.
So if he misses 3 on station 5 and he moves up to 6, he'll sometimes say, I don't know how I missed him. Whoa, stop. 5's out.
Yeah, he's still carrying them. He's still carrying those 3 misses with him.
Leave 5 back there.
Yeah.
Because 5's going to turn to 2 or 3 and 6. Hey, we can talk about 5 in an hour.
Yeah. Right.
Let's move. And now he's starting to understand that. And that's the real differences. Hunter gets nervous, and when he gets really, really nervous sometimes, if it's something, I like to see his mom ride with him, because she and him can talk. Listen, boys love their moms, and they respect their dads, but they love their moms.
Yeah.
And I think that she's better with him when it's very high pressure situation. Now in Europe, I was with Hunter at Cyprus the whole time. She never come and watched him shoot. And but he had a great squad. He had John Woolley and some great people on that squad, and he just had fun. And so their differences is very unique, and how they cope with their emotions is very different between the two. Again, it's like 2 different people. And I think that all this being said is, I've always said this, Brandon needed some stability and Hunter needed some fire and anger. Mm-hmm. So they are the perfect match for each other. Hunter gets to see the good and the bad with Brandon, and he understands what it takes to be a winner. Brandon understands what it takes to be humble.
Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you quit talking to so much to Hunter. And so 2 questions I have for you on that is that, one, you're letting him find his way, or is it because he does better when you don't talk to him about it?
He's a very complex kid. And let me say this about myself. I'm a fixer. If you got a problem, I don't care what it is, send it to me. I'll figure it out for you. For some reason, I'm a great problem solver. My brain works best under pressure and trying to solve a problem nobody else can figure out. I don't know why. It's just, that's my gift. So when I see Brandon as a project to fix, and I see Hunter as a project to fix, and they both have 2 totally different problems that you have to work on. And with Hunter, I realize there's times I can see it, that I can say something to make him angry.
Mm-hmm.
And man, he absolutely lights it up. But then there's times I can see if I say something to make him angry right now, he might fold like a cheap chair.
Yeah.
And this a very fine line. So what I've decided is I'm just not going to say much at all. And I'm just going to let him try to figure it out until he can't. And when he asks, then I'll tell him. And let's be honest, we never listen to our dads.
Yeah. If I did, I'd be a lot wealthier and a lot better off right now. So
Yeah.
My dad had a saying. My dad had the best saying ever. He said, son, I can tell you everything's going to happen to you in your life and save you a lot of misery. But sometimes life's the best teacher.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was something my dad used to say. And you know what? And that's kind of how I am with Hunter sometimes, you know. Sometimes, man, I'm supportive. I'm like, hey, man, just let it go, dude. You're 17. You're going to be here 20 more times. Don't worry about it. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's got to be a tough thing, Rick, because I can definitely resonate with what you're saying there. I mean, my son's now 26 and he's married and, you know, living his own life and stuff. But I remember the days, you know, trying to bring him up through high school and bring him up out of high school and all the struggles he was going with. And there was times when I would try. I'm like you. I'm a fixer. I like to analyze things and solve problems, and I'm good at it. But you're right. You have to know the person you're talking to and whether or not what you're about to say is actually going to be of a benefit or if it's going to be a bad thing, you know? So that's a very fine line to walk. And I think that's a good point to make for a lot of people, especially, you know, the people out there listening to this, maybe they do have kids in the sport. You know, sometimes you got to back off a little bit and let the scars of life happen, so to speak, you know? Yes.
And, you know, Hunter had success starting when he was about 14. We shot speed shooting to start with. He had really good hand-eye coordination and moved into sporting clays and, well, trap and skeet to start with. His foundation's trap and skeet, and then we moved to sporting clays. And you know, what I see with young people right now is we see a parents in every sport, the parents is living through the kid, and every parent thinks they have the next A-Rod or Derek Jeter or Michael Jordan or Brandon Powell. And man, we put too much pressure on these kids.
Yeah.
Man, if you got a 14-year-old kid, 12, 14, I don't care 15, if you're expecting that kid to win or place every time you go somewhere, you're the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hunter has days where the targets are not suiting to him, and he'll shoot really bad in 5-stand and not so good in super sport, and then light the main up, or vice versa. And as a parent, if you can't recognize that, you're not doing a justice to your child. And I also, this is one, while we're kind of talking about that, this is one problem I have with NSCA and the punching rule. That we just had the youngest ever kid punch in the master class. That could be the worst thing I've ever heard of. I don't understand that. I don't understand how that happens. They've robbed that kid of all of the innocence. Not that he didn't work hard locally to get that, but now he's in for donations for a couple years. And this is what runs kids out of the sport.
Agreed.
I believe that if you don't win your state in your class, or you don't finish in the top 2, or you don't ever finish in the top 5 in your class at a regional, you should never get punched up, ever. You don't deserve to be punched up, especially if you're a kid. Master class is the elite of the elite. Okay, now they've created a pro class, but still, people work their whole life to get the master class. There's guys out there that's been shooting for 20 years that's never made master class.
Right now you're preaching to the choir.
I know, and I think it puts too much pressure on these kids, and that's a major pressure that they don't need. They don't need that pressure. They need to have fun, and they need to enjoy, and they need to learn, and they need to learn everything they can, and they need to laugh and joke and smile. And then when they get to Hunter's age, 17, going on 18, and they really want to take this serious, then you can turn the switch. But at 13, 14 years old, listen, it's not fair.
And to further what you're saying, and I'm agreeing with you 100%, as a parent, you're probably very proud of, I remember reading the story. I don't remember how old he is, very young, but they just punched into master. But as a parent, I'm sure you're very proud of him. And I'm sure he's very
proud.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's proud of the work he did to get there.
Yes.
But there's a reason why no other sport in the world can you turn professional until you're 16. Some of them are 18.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. He may be a very respectful, very, very polite young man.
Great shooter.
But that doesn't mean he's mature enough. In other words, enough experience, tournament experience, or whatever it may be, to be able to compete at that level. There's more to it than just to be able to swing a shotgun and pull the trigger.
Well, and there's more to it. Most of these kids punch up at local tournaments.
Right.
And they're beating 5 or 6 people, and they're getting a punch, 2 punches, and they're shooting every weekend. And all of a sudden, you got your 20 punches or whatever it is. That's not real. It's really not real. So now you go to nationals as a master class, and where do you finish?
Yeah.
Where do you finish? And how do you take that high expectation and just let the air out of it and crash land it?
Right.
And not saying that that's what will happen, but it happens more than it doesn't happen. Is the problem.
It's fixing to happen to the guy you're talking to right now. I mean, a couple months, I'm headed to nationals, and I guarantee it's out of 700 and some people, you won't find my name, but somewhere down by the bottom in the masterclass. It's just the way it is. But as far as this young man's concerned, and I mean no offense to him or his parents. I think it's awesome that he accomplished that. But I just think as a whole, we're jumping the gun here. No pun intended.
There should be different parameters to make in masterclass.
I agree.
That's my opinion. I think that there has to be some. And we gauge success in masterclass. You know how we gauge success in masterclass? You'll laugh.
How's that?
How far you scroll to find your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You're gonna be scrolling a while to find Jason Rambo in masterclass at the national championship. I promise you that.
I mean, that's kind of funny to say, but that's true. We gauged ourselves. How good the weekend win is how far you scroll to find your name.
Yep. Well, and there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I've gone to nationals as masterclass, regionals as masterclass, U.S. Open as masterclass, and it's a whole different level. And, most times I hate to say it, but I went into the tournament knowing that I wasn't going to be competitive. And that's what sucks. Yep. You know what I mean? You know before you go that you're just not going to be able to compete against the big boys.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sean and I have bounced back and forth between AA and Master. I mean, started the year in AA, went to 2 tournaments, and ended up Master. And then I shot my 1,000 targets, put in for a review, got back down to AA, and went to 2 more tournaments, and right back to Masters. And I'm, it's a problem. It is, and
it is.
I've talked to a few people that know, and they're trying to fix it, but it's such a big mess. I mean, I think it's one of those things that, you do something and it creates like the ripple effect of the rock in the pond, and you got to be careful what you do because you'll screw up somebody else somewhere down the line that, didn't 100%. Need to be screwed up. So Hey everyone. Each and every week you hear Sean and I brag about our sponsors. And it's not because they sponsor the show. It's because of their products and the unmatched customer support behind each and every single one of those products. We hope you're taking the time to investigate for yourself, try the products out, and see why we love them so much. Hey Toby Tomplay, you want to remind everyone who we're talking about?
I'd love to, Jason. Kolar Arms, America's competition shotgun. Fiocchi USA. Here at the Dead Pair, we're fueled by Fiocchi. Ranger Performance Eyewear. See it further, see it faster, see it clearer with Ranger. Atlas Traps, America's finest clay target equipment. Rhino Chokes. For deadly patterns and knockdown power, choose Rhino. Long Range, the industry standard for trap release and target management systems. Taconic Distillery. After the tournament is over, it's time for one more shot with Taconic Distillery. Score Chaser, your shoots simplified. Clay Range Design Works, your one-stop shop for all your clay target needs. And now, back to the show.
Rick, shifting gears a little bit, as an out, and I don't mean outsider the wrong way. I mean, as somebody that doesn't compete regularly, you're the father of Hunter, you're mentor to Brandon. You know, this is like I said, national world champion. You see that you're carting these guys around and you're watching things from a little bit of an outside is what I'm getting.
Yes. I'm outside the box.
Yeah. What's something about this sport that surprised you that you didn't think it would? Or what's something that's like, oh my gosh, I never realized this, or you know what I mean? Is there something that stands out to you?
Good or bad?
Either way.
You want both?
Yeah, give me both. Let's do both.
Good. I have met some of the greatest people I could ever say I've had the pleasure of meeting. I feel almost family to everyone in the shooting community because, man, it's like you're breaking bread with your brother, you know?
Yes. Well said.
Everybody all enjoys the same thing, breaking clays and shooting shotguns and spending their weekend watching a trap machine throw. So that's the likeness. That is the bond. That is the side of it that I absolutely love. The side I hate. I hate jealousy. I hate people who say one thing and do something else. I hate there's been several incidents. Brandon sat in the front seat of my car and cried before because of stuff that's been done to him at shoots. I witnessed it in Florida the first year I was there. I thought it was a bunch of crap. Somebody took the radiator hose off my buggy because they thought it was Brandon's, tried to burn it up. I've had stuff put on my trailer. I've had jealousy is a sad thing. And the underbelly, Chad Roberts told me this because before I got with Brandon, Hunter was actually going to go to Chad. And when I got the opportunity to go to Brandon, I talked to Chad, and Chad's like, man, that's awesome. He said, I hate that Hunter gets to see the underbelly this quick. And I had no clue what Chad meant by that. But man, have I seen it. And the underbelly of this monster is very nasty.
Yeah.
And it's just not good. And so that's the two-part side of it. The family, the camaraderie, the love that people give and the support that we give to people when they're having a hard time or even a great time. I love it. I wish that they would cut out the jealousy. I came from racing. Everybody cheated. If you didn't cheat, you wouldn't win. And everybody had, you could have a bad Friday night. You could beat the hell out of your best friend. And next week you'd have beers with him. Yeah. It was the weirdest situation, but this stuff tends to linger and like follow you around like a black cloud. And people do mean stuff just to get a bird or to win. And I don't know. It's pretty weird, but it's just shooting. It's supposed to be fun. It's playing golf with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And, so that would be my answers for those two things.
Yeah. It's cool to hear your perspective on it. I would have to agree with the likes. I mean, I think that's part of the passion that drove Sean and I. and that's part of the reason why we did this. And
I've never met you guys,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are, fantastic. It's awesome. I've never been on this podcast. There's so many things that's happened just because of we're just all like people, even we all have different walks of life, but we're all bonded by one thing, and
right.
And it's awesome. And we can all have different ideas and views and thoughts and processes and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we all just like see orange clays explode.
Yeah.
Right.
Very well said.
Right. Well, and I've told Jason many times, it's like we're 5 years into this daggone podcast. Hard to believe it's been that long. And I think I told a story a couple of times, and he's referenced it a few times where it's like, well, when we got into this, we were like wide-eyed, didn't realize what everything was all about. But after a certain amount of time, it's almost like when you're a kid, you remember about Santa Claus, and you were like, oh yeah,
it is.
And then you wake up that one day and you realize, oh, it's not what I thought it was. You know what I mean? That's the reference I often use with this whole thing.
But then there's so many things that are truly that great. And people that are that great. And then,
oh man.
And then there's a side of it that Sean's referencing. It's like, what did I get myself into?
It's like a yin and yang.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, but it's so fun too, and man, I'll just be honest, the people I have got the opportunity to meet and the people Hunter's got to shoot against and hang out with and be friends with and get to know, and it's just awesome. I love it, and I love it for him. And let's be honest, man, being able to be around Brandon, watch Brandon move a shotgun, watch him do what other people don't do, because I get to watch everybody. So I see all of you guys shoot, and I see the differences, and it's pretty crazy to watch, from my perspective, from the 20 feet behind the cage perspective.
Yeah.
I see there, Sean, that's why he likes me so well.
Yeah.
He just said he gets to see everybody shoot. So he tells Hunter, he points at me and goes, see that guy? Don't shoot like that.
Right.
And he points at Brandon and says, see that guy? I want you to shoot like Brandon.
Let's face it, me and you could put on a clinic about what not to do. Come on.
I think I told Hunter, hey, I think Jason's going to get you this week. You better tighten up.
Oh, no wonder he beat me so bad that week. So
well,
I can't come within 20 targets of that kid.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jay. Let me interrupt you.
Oh, all I said is I can't come within 20 targets of that kid. So.
Well, what about, we've talked about everything leading up to the competition, the stresses, the struggles. What about after the tournament? How does Hunter and Brandon kind of step back after it's all said and done? Do you see like a weight's been lifted off of them? Is it just wow, I'm exhausted, I'm worn?
Sean,
what do you see at the end?
Sean, you're talking about two guys that win all the time. They're popping champagne bottles. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I'm saying, Rick, he has to see all the stress and stuff that they go through, at the tournaments and all that stuff. But, what do you see when they actually step away? Okay, they've handed out all the trophies, everything's done. You're loading up, you're getting ready to go home. How do those guys react to that? And they're finally off the treadmill.
Two totally different people. So let's start with Hunter first on this one. Hunter is in the quest of perfection. So whether he shot absolutely perfect or he shot absolutely horrible, he's critiquing everything he did that weekend.
Got it.
And whether he got a medal, a trophy, a check, one make or break, or finished dead last, he's critiquing everything in the search of excellence. Brandon has used so much of his energy. He's physically and emotionally exhausted. And he is like a hibernating bear for the next 2 days. Like he's exhausted.
So time to go decompress.
100%.
Okay.
Hunter the wheels have engaged into high gear. Because he's trying to figure out why he dropped 2 on 17 and 1 on 1 and 7 on 5 or whatever. He's trying to figure out. He's replayed every shot, every move, every shell he loaded, how it unloaded, probably 500 times. Brandon looks like he got ran over by the truck, and then they backed up to see if he was still alive.
Oh man.
Oh, that's a good description.
Two totally different, it just, we go out usually and we have a nice dinner afterwards and we have a drink and we laugh and we talk about what went well and what went bad and where we thought we were at and what, we kind of digest everything. And then you can just see Brandon's ready to not talk about it. He's ready to rest and take a break. And Hunter likes to, then at that point, Hunter starts, probably watching shooting videos. And, it's just two totally different people. And it's how they process things separately and differently. But, man, and when Brandon wins the big stuff, when he won at EJ, me and Tiffany were out there first and the hug with me and Brandon was pretty long, and we both were crying because it's a lot, man. It's a lot to get to these places. It's a lot of effort just to be there. It's a lot of effort to compete at that level for days on end, and then it's all over in an instant, and you either won or lost. And he's shot so well in the last couple of years. It's been a lot of winning, and it doesn't matter. I mean, last year at the World at Anthony's, he hugged me and he cried and I cried and we talked and, man, I told him you deserve this. And it was very similar at EJ and it was very similar at Nationals. And then sometimes we'll just hug and he'll say, I can't believe I can keep doing this. And I said, you ain't done. We're just warming up, bud. We just got the engine fired up. And, I play truck driver, cheerleader, mechanic, psychiatrist. I'm everything in one, and it's sometimes it's a lot for me emotionally. But man, when I see either one of them or both of them having success, man, it's hard to hold back my emotions because I know how hard and how tiresome it is for us. And I feel the same way for everybody else that shoots. I feel that way for Zach and Desi and Anthony and Corey and Kevin and Todd and everybody that's at that level. I know what it takes. Theo, all those guys. I know what it takes to be at that level. I see it. I see the stress, the amount of all those guys put in, man. And all of them are deserving, all of them, every one of them. And that's not that list goes on and on and on. It's hard to out there and grind.
Yeah. Well, and I don't. Again, I'm gonna jump subject a little bit on you. I don't remember what tournament was that. I saw you with the shotgun in your hand. I'm like, check this out. Yeah. So you get to shoot every once in a while, huh?
They make fun of me, but I used to be somebody. I used to be somebody. So I got a good story on that. So I like to shoot my Benelli 20 gauge, and everybody laughs at me because I'm shooting my Benelli 20 gauge. But I don't know what it is about this Benelli 20 gauge where I know I've done a bunch of work to it, and it's super loud. It's way louder than every other gun on the course. Like I'm shooting a 10 gauge, but it's a 20 gauge. I promise. And I'm at Atlas, the Atlas Cup 2 years ago, not this past year. And I shot last year too, but 2 years ago. And we go into the main and I'm shooting it and I'm shooting my 20 gauge. And Brandon goes, well, we're shooting 300 targets. I'll give you 80. And I said, okay, whatever. I said, 80. He said, yeah, well, you want $500? I go, whatever you want, bet, Brandon. The typical Brandon wanting to jack with you, So when we come off the course, I think he shot 100 straight, but I was sitting on 87.
Oh.
And he went, what'd you shoot? I said, 87. He goes, hold on a second. Can we retalk that number? And I go, and I said, hey, it's still early. Let me go ahead and fail a little bit. So yes, I do shoot occasionally. I like to shoot some of the side events. I think once Hunter goes off to school and, I'll probably start shooting a little more locally with, because I really enjoy it. But right now it's really hard for me to really enjoy watching those two and really take in what they're actually trying to achieve. Two different types of achievement too. Brandon's trying to leave a legacy, and Hunter's trying to find the path to greatness.
Yeah.
So two totally different paths. And I just enjoy watching them walk that path.
Yeah. And, I hope, I know you talked about when Hunter goes to college, it could be all over with. I hope he stays with the collegiate team and then finds a way to, get a career where he could keep shooting, of some kind. You know what I mean? I'd love to see what he can do as he gets older and matures and keeps down the path that he's on, because I think he's going to be very successful in shooting. But we all know that you can't make, Brandon's one of the few examples of people that can make a living doing this.
Yeah, he's not going to make a living at it, I don't think. You never know. But, he's got some short list colleges. There's been a lot. We've talked to a lot. We've not really went and visited very many at all or any. Got some really good guys out there, Scott Robertson's after him at Murray State, and they have a gunsmithing school, and then there's Cordova, and there's William Penn, there's, Clemson, we talked to, oh my gosh, there's been so many of them. It's hard to remember all of them, but most of the colleges have talked to Hunter, or some of them have, and then the other, we've talked to the Army marksman unit a little bit. I got some friends in the Army that would love to see Hunter go to the marksman unit, and that's a career,
Yeah.
But that's pathway to the Olympics, and he does have some interest in shooting bunker. Like I think Hunter's a lot more like Derek in a lot of ways. He likes to do all the different stuff. And Brandon does too, but Brandon really likes to focus on winning sporting clays, and where Derek likes to focus on winning everything he shoots. And,
right.
And Hunter likes that diversity a little bit. So,
Sure.
it's all good. So yeah, I think that he's got a long future in this game if he wants it. If he was to go to gunsmithing school, he's been offered some opportunities to go over and maybe work for Perazzi in the gunsmithing world. We've got some connections with some people that's helping him with the classes and stuff, some really great guys. And there's a lot of people in Italy, and that's where you want to go if you want to be a gunsmith, learn how to work on the good stuff. And there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options out there for him. And that's totally different than what I had. I went straight from high school to a stone mill. My dad was a stone mill guy and worked in a stone mill. I went straight to eating stone dust and making a paycheck, working in a union. So,
well, we are running long here, but this is why we deliver, and I'm going to steal it from Sean Alley because he normally does it, but this is why we deliver the message every week of taking somebody new shooting, taking them to the tournament.
100%. Yeah.
We got to meet great folks right here, like Rick Webb and his son Hunter, and we've gotten to know Brandon, and these are the friendships and the relationships, the good side of it, like Rick was just saying, that's in this game. So why wouldn't you take a friend, a family member, a coworker, or somebody out and introduce them to this game? Sean Alley, am I right here? Help me out.
You're preaching to the choir, my friend. You're preaching to the choir.
You're sitting there nodding. Nobody can see you nodding yes.
I'm like, I say this every week, but yeah, you go ahead. You're doing well. You're doing well.
Well, it's not going to grow on its own. I've been having, and we're going to discuss on an upcoming podcast. Joe Bartozzi with the NSSF has got the latest and greatest survey information. He's going to be joining us here on an episode soon, so look forward to that. But we're going to talk about that and what it takes to grow a sport, because it's got to be relatable. And if somebody's not, if it's not something relatable, they're not going to participate. They're not going to watch. It's going to take one of us meaning everybody that's listening to this, to grab somebody by the hand. Come on, man, I want to go introduce you to this game. Whether they've shot a firearm before or not, take them out, show them the safety, and the rest will speak for itself. Again, I'm taking Sean Alley's line from him there. The game will sell itself.
Yeah.
That's a great, my mother-in-law is totally, my wife's mom lives with us, and she's never been a fan of guns and never been a fan of hunting. And I've got deer heads hanging everywhere. you know, I know it was hard for her to come live with us, and because, you know, that was not her thing. But as Hunter started having success, one day we have traps here at the house, and we got her outside and we said, Mary, you need to try shoot a gun. And you could tell she was very apprehensive, but we got her to shoot, you know, and she broke a clay, and we laughed, and it was fun. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yep.
Even though she has no interest in that, you know, now she's always asking what he's doing, how's he doing. But it was that moment that you got to introduce somebody to something that they would have never, ever, ever done.
Yeah.
If you didn't push that issue.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. And, Sean, you know, Rick's mentioned Atlas here a couple times, sponsor of this podcast and of Hunter Webb. So good to see that he's putting those traps to good use. Like Chad told me, he threw some bombs for him out of those traps before he went over the worlds. It sounds like it was a good thing.
Yeah, we threw some targets with some Atlas traps, and, you know, Hunter's shooting rhino too. And I'm telling you right now, this rhino alien choke, if you don't like the color, then color's gold, because that's what you're winning with it. I know that sounds funny, but, you know, there's been a lot of people, you know, I don't like the color. Well, okay, but the color leads to gold.
That's well said.
So
well said.
There's gold.
If you like to win, you might screw the crazy green and purple pink choke in your gun, right?
What he's trying to say, folks, there's gold at the end of the rainbow.
Right.
Yeah,
There you go. That's a good analogy.
Brandon might be a leprechaun.
Oh man, I don't know. He's lost so much weight, and he doesn't look like a little short, fat leprechaun anymore. He looks more like
he is, man. He's 120 pounds down. He's fit and fiddle, and man, he's shooting great, and he is in alien form. You know, he's just awesome. When we were looking at, you know, maybe he does a one-off Krieg-off with aliens all over it, and it's going to be something special if we do this. And so I don't want to, you know, get the surprise out, but we've been looking at some cool stuff. And so yeah, the alien is in rare form, and you know, Hunter's having a great year, a great success, and we're just watching a young man grow into a very mature young adult who will do well in life. And that's all we care about.
Well, he's definitely had great upbringing, wonderful parents. And you know, it's been awesome getting to know you, Rick and Hunter. And we appreciate you spending some time with us tonight. I know you've got your hands full you guys just got back from Kentucky State. You were telling me when we got on the phone, and been busy working on the trailer and whatnot. So we appreciate you spending some time with us. And, thank you again, and congratulations to all their success.
Man, thank you guys, and thank you for all you guys do for the sport, and everybody out there, man. Go to the range, have some fun, shoot with your kid, shoot with your friends. Just go check it out. Have a good time. That's what it's all about.
Heck yeah,
well absolutely. Said. Well, Sean Alley, like I said, we've ran long again, my friend. So until next week.
Can't wait to see y'all back here on the Dead Pair Podcast.
We'll see you next time on the Dead Pair Podcast.
The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, the mark of performance, and is fueled by Fiocchi USA. The Dead Pair theme song was written, arranged, and produced by Toby Tomplay. Special thanks to the following sponsors: Atlas Traps, Ranger Performance Eyewear, Rhino Chokes, Long Range LLC, Taconic Distillery, Score Chaser, and Clay Range Design Works.